We're prepping for the last hard enduro event of the season as Jonny Walker gets set to defend his crown.
Sea to skies in a little town called Kemer in Turkey, and it's right on the beach resort, and that's probably one of the most fun races of the year. You do a qualifying on the first day, which is 20 minutes. The next day you do maybe a 1-hour race in the wood, and then that all leads up to the final day, which is usually 3 to 4 hours going up the mountain. Turkey is so much different because it's so rocky. You know, you start off on sand, which is really fast, and then for the next 20 miles, it's just all rock. The most enjoyable part for me is the bottom bit near the beach. You know, I love riding in the sand, and it's really fast early on in the race until you get halfway up the mountain where it gets a lot more technical. The toughest part of that race is probably a few miles off the top. Because of the altitude, your bike doesn't run so good, and it's hard to ride a bike that's not running right, and especially when you need the power at the top, you don't have it. Because it's so rocky, you don't want to be hitting the front pipe on your bike, which obviously you'll lose power, and then when you get to the top of the mountain, you're struggling with power anyways, but if you've got a big dint in the pipe, then you're going to really struggle. It's the last race, and you know, as soon as that race is finished, you've got a good few weeks off just to chill out and not take things so seriously, because we're training all year. When we do that last race, it's good to have a bit of a blowout.
In preparation for hard enduro races, it is vital that Walker makes sure he has the perfect bike setup to handle the extreme conditions.
So this is my KTM 300 Exc Practice Bike. And this bike weighs in at 100 kilograms standard, but we change a little bit so we save a little bit of weight here and there. This is a silencer that we got made. It's a titanium exhaust, so we're saving a little bit of weight, and it just looks better. When we go to a race, we can do whatever we want to the engine, but we have to use road legal tyres because some of our races go on the roads. The difficult thing is picking which tyres to use. If it's going to be wet and muddy, then you need like a skinny front tyre, because if it's fat, it follows all the ruts in the dirt. So if it's dry, I always use the bigger front tyre because I feel it's more stable. We have 3 different options of rear tyres, so I'll use a soft if it's rocky. If it's muddy, I'll use a harder tyre so it digs in and gets better grip. Because we're prone to punctures, we don't use a normal tube. We use this, which is called a mousse. We don't run any air in the tyres, it's just a solid piece of foam. We get our suspension set up at the start of the year. We spend a few days on a track that I know, so I know how the bike feels. And then once we've got that one set up, we only change it maybe 2 or 3 clicks when we go to a different race. I changed the handlebars from standard. I like a different bend to the standard bar, and it's what I feel, and I've always rode with that one. Some people prefer them a lot further forward, some people prefer them back. I like mine nice and in line with the forks. Your wheels are marked, so you have to keep the same wheel, but you're allowed to change the tyre. So we have mechanics. When I come back in, he'll change the tyres, fuel the bike, and then I'll go back out again. These come standard with an 11-litre tank, and on a sandy track, that will last under an hour. I actually changed the seat cover to have one a lot more grippier, because I like to not slide back, because the bike's quite powerful. When you turn up to a race and you know it's going to be wet, you'll try and seal it a lot more, you know, so the water's not getting into the filter and then getting dragged through the engine. You go to a dusty track and the filter gets covered in dust and that gets pulled through the engine. So it's just all about keeping that filter clean to keep the engine running. In general, if anything's going to get damaged, it's usually the front pipe. If you make a smaller one, then you'll lose power. You make a bigger one, it's just going to get hit more. So we just use the standard front pipe, and when I'm riding, I'm always trying to put my front wheel where I'm not going to catch that, because as soon as that gets tinted, you lose power automatically. When we're using lights in a night race, you can use whatever you want. You can put as many lights on the bike as you want. We usually attach a light on the front, and then I'll have 2 on the side of my helmet, so that one's pointing where I'm going, and then I've got the ones on my helmet for when I'm looking around, looking for different lines. If you need to change a spark plug or something little, if you break a lever when you crash, we carry them on us so we can change them, but anything mechanical in the engine, you're kind of out of the race, so as soon as it goes wrong, you might as well go home.